Hey YouTube, what's up? Short video, a little bit different today. A few weeks ago, the YouTuber Mattia Poya asked those who were graphic designers in his community if they could create a new logo for him. And guess which logo he chose? In this video, we're going to talk about two things. I'm going to do a short breakdown of the logo construction, but I'm mainly going to talk about why I think he chose mine when there were other really great proposals. And it will also be an opportunity to give you some tips for your own brand identity. Then I would also like to talk about why I participated. We'll talk a little bit about free work and is it a good thing or a very, very bad thing. So let's go, but before that, intro. Actually, no, this intro is made for my photo tutorials. Well, no intro then. So that's the logo Matty finally chose. If the first thing you think about is, yeah, it's simple, clean, legit. So I did my job well. You see, when you think of a logo, in the collective imagination, a good logo is a glyph or icon that represents the whole brand, and if you turn it 180 degrees and look at it at the sun, there is a hidden meaning as well as a metaphor for life. It can be for a brand that it will work with, and when it's done well, it's pretty good. But in most of cases, I don't think it's appropriate. For me, the first meaning of a logo is not to be original and eye-catching, but on the contrary, simple and minimalist. And above all, it should not be a snapshot of a moment in the life of a brand, but try to represent something which will remain relevant for as long as possible in the brand lifespan. When I started trying to find ideas for Matty's logo, so you scribble down on paper the ideas that go through your mind, the first thing I did was to integrate the initial image into a mountain drawing, just like the logo made you art proposed, but mine was not as good. Mate, your logo was dope. Then I thought to myself, but today Matty is doing more gear reviews, so I tried to integrate the initials rather into a camera lens. In short, for me, that's the problem with the Medio logo. Or maybe I saw another one on Instagram of a guy called Destined. Go follow his work, he do pretty good thing too. Their logo are creatively brilliant, and they both deserve to be the Travel Fields logo. I'm not in Matty's shoes, I'm not going to talk for him and say why he chose mine, I don't know in the end, but I think that's part of the reason. His channel is no longer Travel Fields, today it's Mattia Poya. Today he is more in tech review, daily vlogging, tutorials, and not in travel video anymore. And tomorrow his channel can still evolve, maybe we'll talk about other things. Maybe it will be a gaming channel or hair product. Please Matty, don't do hair product, I don't really care about that. And in the end, that's why I focused only on the monogram. If you look at my own logo, you can't find something simpler than that. So the question was how to integrate the two letters in a simple and eye-pleasing way. Then I thought that in this case, the primary reason of the logo was not for printing, but to illustrate the videos of his channel. Hey, I'm an animator, I do motion design and 3D stuff, so I decided to try to give an impression of depth while keeping the option of having something very animable. And voila! What do you think of that? Oh my god, I can't unsee that now. To come back to what I was saying, in the collective imagination, the logo conveys the brand's image. But that's not really true. When I started my career in graphic design, I specialized in brand identity creation. And here's the big secret I learned. A logo is not that important. No one will ever come to you and say, I don't know if you're good or not at what you do, but I saw your logo and based just on that, I want to hire you. The logo is only one part of what really matters. Your brand identity. It's just a component like the color you use, the font, the imagery, the kind of language you use, the history around your brand. All this is your brand identity. And the main feature of a good brand identity is the consistency between all its elements. It's a vast topic and clearly I will make videos about it in depth on the channel because I also want to approach the business aspect of photography, filmmaking, but which can also apply to any type of small businesses. Okay, it's time to move on the second subject of this video. The free work, the so-called spec work, stands for speculative work, and I know that Matty has received a lot of negative comments about it. And that's something I can understand. The most common answer is that when you start out, you have to work for free to build a portfolio. Makes sense. A little background. I started my career as a photographer about 15 years ago? Yes, I look young, awesome and fresh, but no. Then I oriented myself in graphic design, precisely in brand identity and web design. Then I discovered motion design, 3D, but also video production. And it must be now 10 years since I became a freelancer. I had the chance to work for some very big brands. So today I don't really need to create a portfolio for myself. I already have one. In addition, I have not made a paid logo project for years. I'm an animator now. Then why did I participate? Concerning the spec work, I must admit that my opinion is a little different from Matty's. Actually no, but let's say I'm going to try to go a little deeper into it. Should you do spec work? I really don't think so. Should you work for free? No. All work deserves a remuneration. Does this compensation have to be in form of money? No, that's the point I like to make. What I define as spec work is a company that has plenty of money to pay for the service of a designer, but instead will organize the contest for people to work for them for free, without remuneration, under the pretext of it's gonna give you exposure. Oh my god, it's gonna give you exposure. Are you going to ask several restaurants to cook for you and you will only pay for the one that seems best to you? Or ask different architects to build you a house and then decide which one you will live in and only pay for this one? That's the problem with spec work. The fact that it's obviously unethical, but above all, it puts in people's minds that everything that is design work, video, photography, everything that is artistic and therefore not a physical product, it's not something that you need to pay for. That all artists do this for passion and exposure. That's how I pay my rent, by the way, with passion. Hey, here, a check of passion. That's why every artist feels attacked when they smell something close to spec work. And for having been through this all my career, I validate 100%. How many people asked me for videos or photography and told me that he will give me exposure for that when I had 100 times more exposure on the internet than they did? 1 million, at least. I have never worked without being paid, but I have often worked in exchange for something other than cash. When I started my career, I am the one who went to see the companies that interested me and offered them my services for free. I was trying to see what I could bring to them and to solve a problem they could have. And I built my first portfolio like that. Many of them then called me back and became my first paid clients. But it was I who decided to whom I would give the fruit of my work for free. I gained experience, projects on my own portfolio, clients, and I will do it again without hesitation. I'm still doing it today sometimes. The question is, what can I get out of the work I'm going to do? I think we should avoid these companies that exploit the talent of artists who are just starting out by pretending to offer them more exposure, which almost never happens, by the way. It is up to you to decide who you can offer the fruit of your work and what you can get out of it. Let's go back to Matty, because in the end, you're going to tell me it wasn't me who went to him to offer him my services. It was him who made a call on his channel. I know that for many people, the difference will be subtle, but for me, it's just huge. It is always very hard not to look only at the facts. We always stop our reflections here, and it is much more difficult to analyze the intention behind it. Of course, I only know him through what I see of him in these videos. But Matty seems to me a million light years away from the slightest desire to exploit anyone. He didn't go to a designer forum or a specialized spec work website. He asked his community, hey, among you, do some people know how to make a logo? And who would want to try to make one for me? I've been following his work for a long time, and I like what he does. I get satisfaction from it, and I never paid for it. If you have already learned something from his videos, or if you have been entertained with them, you have done it for free. It has brought you value and you have not paid him back. That's what I like about YouTube actually. You bring value to people. That's why I also create my own channel. I am a fan of his work, and it seems normal to me to be able to give something in compensation. I have bought his loot pack a very long time ago, not so much to use them since I'm grading my video myself, but because it was a way for me to support his work. So if spec work is bad for you, ask yourself how you reward the work it does to bring you what it gives you for free. That's why I decided to spend time finding something to give him. I really didn't intend to win, actually. But I thought it was a way to contribute to his channel. Maybe it would at least give him some ideas, or I don't know. So that's why I participated. And look, at the end, I win. And you are probably here because he talked about me. So, exposure. It's a vast subject, right? It's up to you all to discuss in the comments, and since the internet is a wonderful and friendly place, I'm sure it will be done in a way that respects everyone's opinions. Okay, please stay another 30 seconds for a tiny little self-promotional moment. If you just discover my channel, it just started a month and a half ago. I know it's hard to visualize what it's going to become because for the moment, the first series of 10 videos is based on photography basics. But then I will talk about video production, photography more generally, freelancing, the place of image in society, lots of good stuff. You've seen it, I like to include a little bit of motion design in my videos. And I have this magnificent French accent that makes girls fall for it, in addition to a little rough grammar sometimes, I know. Sorry. For the moment, I post once every 2 weeks since I'm not full-time on YouTube and the videos take up a lot of my time. For example, I'm working on the video 9 of the series and spoiler alert, it's gonna be awesome. But it's a lot of work to edit. After that, I will see how to try to post more often. So if you're interested, don't hesitate to subscribe and ring the bell. I hope I have answered all the questions I was asked about Matty's logo. See you, mate. Keep on creating.